If the client tells you it's too expensive, the next logical step would be, what's the thing all salespeople struggle the most? That's handling objections. That's maybe not the most, but that's one of the top things for sure, because all over the place, whenever it comes to sales, the main question usually comes up: how do I handle customers' objections? How do I handle this? What if he says this? And in fact, very common problem for all salespeople. Even before you make a call to a prospect, already in your mind, you are painting these mental pictures. What if he says this? What if he says that? Right? One of the most common objections across all industries is about the price, right? Price for service or product or whatever. So if the client tells you it's too expensive, at this point, it's not really an objection. It's just a statement. And in fact, this statement doesn't tell us anything. What does too expensive mean? I mean, it can mean many things. First, it can mean it's too expensive comparing to what he was expecting to pay for this service or this product, right? Second thing, what this can mean is it's too expensive comparing to what, let's say he got a quote from another place, or he got a product from another place, and it's too expensive comparing to that, right? Or it's too expensive to maybe to something that he had purchased before. I mean, similar product maybe a year ago, comparing to that. So whenever he simply says it's too expensive, we have no idea what does it mean, right? So what's the next logical step for us? The next logical step would be just to ask clarifying questions. So for example, he says, yeah, but this is just too pricey. And then what you have to ask is very simple. John, by saying it's too expensive, what exactly do you mean? What's important here is the right tonality, right? We ask simply out of curiosity, like, hey, John, what exactly do you mean by too expensive? And he will simply elaborate. You see, this is way too much than we were just willing to spend for this. Or he will say, oh, I got this quote from this other company and they're charging this and that, right? And depending on what he says, what the prospect says, then we already take the next steps. For example, we work in the airline industry. We're selling business and first class tickets, and it's a common thing. They say, oh, this is too expensive. And they are shopping around people and they're getting quotes from all over the place. It's like, oh, this is too expensive. I'm getting like $500 cheaper elsewhere. Like, all right, sure. And then we just have to see what are they getting? Is it even the same product? Because many times they're not comparing apples to apples, right? So whenever this thing comes up, it's too expensive. The number one thing what we do, we ask clarifying questions. We allow the client to clarify what does he mean by too expensive, because it can mean totally different things. So if you're interested in more in how to handle these objections, comment below. Let me know what objections are you facing, and I'll be more than glad to address them.